Hi, I'm Bee. Welcome to this week's Wreck This Journal. If you've seen my other Wreck This Journal videos, then you know that I'm using this journal for art prompts and experimentation. The first pages that I'll be working on today are pages 20 and 21. This page is for handprints or fingerprints. Get them dirty, then press down. I had so many ideas for this page. I could do anything as simple as like kindergarten handprint crafts, like handprint turkeys. I could try something more challenging, like there's an artist, Erica O'Connor, and she paints onto her hand and then uses her hand as a stamp to create animal portraits. And I could try doing something like that. I could do, having like a fingerprint card for criminals and then drawing whatever criminal I wanted. I could take the little fingerprints themselves and make them into like draw little ink monsters over the top of them, or use the fingerprints as petals on flowers. Or I could take a handprint and kind of like smear it down the page like it's a bloody handprint and then make it like kind of like a horror page or something like that. There were just so many different ideas that I could have played with this page, and ultimately I decided to try fingerprinting with watercolor because I knew it would not leave like the actual print. It would just, add kind of like a puddle, and I thought that could be a really cute background. I thought about just finger painting with watercolors the entire way, but I decided to just use it as like this soft background look, and I really like that. I'm using my Ohuhu water-based markers. That's what I always use for watercolors. I just color onto a piece of plastic, and then generally I just use lids. And then I, obviously use a paintbrush and just paint with it normally, and it gives these really beautiful watercolor, like pastel watercolor vibes. If I want to do something stronger, then I do sketches with the markers themselves, and then I can add water on top of that, and that's going to have a lot more vibrancy to the colors. And so that's what I ended up doing with the animals today, just to give them a little bit more vibrancy and a little bit more pop. I pulled some inspiration also from the beginning of this month. I did a modern impressionist depiction for my bullet journal, and I really like that style, and I was like, maybe if I did that and then add a few drops of water to the top of it, it'll make it like really bright and still have that sort of dotted patchy texture that I really enjoy with the impressionist style. I also really like the idea of showing movement with the waves, and so I did debate on putting like waves or swirls or things like that, but ultimately I wanted to add some flowers because I just thought that would be really pretty. I did not do both sides of these pages at the same time, and that was a mistake because now they are different vibrancies. I used a lot more water on the stingray side than I did on the shark side, and it's very evident when they are side by side. I think they're both still really cute, and I do think that they turned out really well. I know I used my fingers more for the shark than I did for the stingray, so I think the shark might have been more true to the instructions, just because I did more of it with my fingerprints than with my paintbrush. But overall, I mean, together you can tell that they go together. They're just, different intensities. If I were to make like a sticker or something out of either one of these, I would just have to increase the intensity of the colors on the stingray to make them match. And of course, once I have these all glued into my pages, I wanted to add a little bit of sparkle, a little bit of shine. So I took some leftover sparkly paper and cut it into like tape-sized strips so that I could put it in there. So it looked like I kind of like taped these in, and it just adds a little bit of sparkle. And to finish off the page, I added a few more finger paints of the pink and purple down at the bottom just because it needed a little something something to make the page feel complete. If you want to please the Paniverse, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. A new video is released every Monday. The next pages we'll be working on today are pages 22 and 23. Color this entire page. Now, when I first read that, I sort of had a panic / mental blank. Like I freaked out because that is too vague of a prompt for me. color this entire page means that I have to come up with an entire composition. I don't have any sort of direction to start in. And so I almost considered skipping this page and going on to the next page, but then I was like, nope, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to sit down and figure it out. And so I went on Instagram trying to get some inspiration. And I saw this girl, and she was painting with acrylic paints in her journal. And I know this is going to sound really ignorant, but I didn't know you could use acrylic paints in a journal. I thought, for whatever reason, that, when you close the journal, that the plastics and the acrylic would rub up against each other or just, destroy each other if you were to paint on there. Turns out you can do that. So that gave me at least a direction, because I haven't played with my acrylics in a while. And so I picked out a color scheme. And also on my track for inspiration, I was seeing a lot of like fantasy art. And, fantasy art isn't my forte. I haven't really ever created any sort of fantasy landscapes or anything like that. And so I decided I would try to go for something like that. And so this is an attempt to show, like, in this fantasy world where the sun is like coming down through a cavern or through some trees or something like that. And you're just seeing this like mystical kind of glowing area. And then with the white flowers, I was trying to show like the magic of the wind. And then like the little dots everywhere was supposed to be like kind of, like when you look into the sunlight, you see all like the specks of dust and things like that. Like you can see all of the things that are floating in the air. And in the forest, there's always like little leaves and little things. There's always stuff floating around in the air. And so, yeah, I was just hoping that would give it a little bit more wonder. And honestly, I really liked how this turned out. I feel like you can tell that it is a magical land. And I think it's really beautiful. I think it does a good job. On the color, the entire page, since acrylics are opaque, I just watered them down. So they were more like a watercolor, so you can still see the instructions for the page. Overall, this page looks beautiful. Like I love the rhythm to it. I love the idea of it. Like I just really like this page. To review, today we completed pages 20 and 21. This page is for handprints or fingerprints. Get them dirty, then press them down. And 22-23. Color this entire page. As I've gone on, I keep improving, I feel like. And, those first couple pages, they were okay. But I think this is going to be really nice to look back on once I get all of these pages done. It's going to be so nice to like flip through the whole thing and feel really accomplished, I think.